Hello and welcome everyone to my tutorial on how to defend battlecruisers properly. This will mostly be about the early game, but I will also talk in general about the weaknesses of the battlecruiser, what you can do in mid-game or late game against them. But mostly I get the questions of how do you defend the battlecruiser Hellion Opening. So I made a sub goal for that on my stream and I reached that sub goal a couple of days ago, so here is the video. I'm going to show you guys 3 different games. I'm just going to go rather quickly through the early game because I'm not going to talk too much about the early game. I'm going to show you 3 games. One is this one will be one of the pretty standard battlecruiser openings. It's going to be the one where they open for Viking first and then for battlecruisers, so it's sometimes a bit harder to scout. In this game I believe I'm going to go for Overlord speed. I did not know that this was battlecruisers before, so I didn't just play custom games and told him he has to play battlecruisers. This game right now is against Calazur. And the other 2 games are, I think, against Solent the Muslim. So yeah, this game I'm going for the Overlord speed opening. If you want to see a tutorial on that, I actually made a video on that. But I won't go into detail about how my opening sets me up into the game. As I think most of the Zerg openings are pretty similar. In this case, I go Overlord speed, which is very good for scouting. And here's the first big tell of the battlecruiser opening. I can see that there's a 3rd gas already. I actually saw him. I didn't see this fusion core yet, but I did see the 3rd gas, and the only build from Terran that needs so much gas is indeed the battlecruiser opening. So right now I have a pretty good idea. I'm also pretty sure it's a Viking first, because I saw that there was no add-on here. So I know this Overlord is probably gonna die. Either I would have had to run away right now, and like if I went up here I would have probably went like this to try to avoid the Viking, but I went back in to 100% confirm that it is indeed battlecruisers. So now I see it's battlecruisers, and I would just go about it in a very standard way. The way I like to deal with battlecruisers, as soon as I know it's battlecruisers, is I make 8 to 9 queens. I put 4 in my main base with the Spore Crawler, 3 or 4 for the first battlecruiser with the Spore Crawler. I have 1 Spore per base, so I will have 4 queens like right here, in case it teleports to my natural. I will have 4 queens right here, and yeah, and my Zerglings are around here to deny the potential Hellion run by. And against this build, I also make a Roach one. It should be around 420 to be in time for Hellbat timing. And you can see that I'm staying on 1 gas for a very long time. I think that's necessary because I want to get my queen count up as early as possible, so I also get some transfusers. So usually I get my gases around 450 to 5 minutes. If I wouldn't have played Overlord speed, I would have gotten them a bit earlier, around 440 to 450, not at 5 minutes, but since I played Overlord speed, I was 1 queen short that I need to. Like you're just a little bit short of mineral income in the early game. So now I'm getting 5 blind roaches. I didn't really follow up scout, just in case of this also being a Hellbat attack at the front. These 5 roaches will be more than enough to deal with this, especially considering that I will have 3 to 4 queens at the front together with them, and as soon as I see that the battlecruiser is going with the Hellbats, I can pull all the queens together. And it should be fine. So as soon as you hear this sound, by the way, I went a bit too far back. So right now I'm already on 8 queens. As you can see, I have 5 here actually. This one is supposed to go to the front very soon. As soon as you hear this sound, not sure if you heard it, you should check where the battlecruiser is coming from, and you always should pull away the drones from where the battlecruiser is. I see many Zerg players not doing this. At the same time I'm defending this, trying to push creep forward with the roaches and the queens. Because these queens are more than enough to fight the battlecruiser. You do not need to pull every single queen. What I see a lot of players, a mistake that a lot of players do, is that they don't pull away these drones right away. The battlecruiser shoots constantly, and if there's no queens under it, especially if there's no queens under it, it will auto-target drones, but good players will just shift-click drones for the battlecruiser. Because usually the way the battlecruiser is used is that they use up their entire HP to Yamato 1 queen and then shift-click drones. So, and then after that they can pour it out at any time. So what you want to do is just stay out of range of the battlecruiser with the drones, and preferably even with the queens. In case you didn't know, queens have more range than battlecruisers, so you can actually kite against battlecruisers as well. And yeah, the second battlecruiser, like battlecruisers take a very long time to build, but the point where they're the most scary is usually when there's two battlecruisers. One thing I forgot to mention is against Viking into battlecruiser, you should put the spores down around 5 minutes 10. This is against gas first, 5 minutes, or rather 5 minutes and 20 even, I would say. 5 minutes 10 to 5 minutes 20 is where you should put down 1 spur per base. If you don't see a starport unit, so if it's not a Viking first, you should put them down around 455. I gotta be careful to not lose any queens. And in this case, I'm going for the macro follow-up. I saw it was 8 Hellions. I'm not sure yet 100% if this is mech, but I have a pretty good idea. Not actually sure if I did a follow-up scout. I don't think so personally. Usually you should follow up scout. Now I already know because it's 11 Hellions and you probably lost one, so that makes it 12 Hellions, which you can't really go 12 Hellions into bio, or not a lot of good players will do that at least. But there's also bio follow-up against this. Against the bio follow-up, I would just go add a Baneling Nest and a Hydra then and go to Hive. You can make a lot of drones against the bio follow-up before the first 2 medevacs hit, like up to 80 or 90. And then just start pumping out as many units as possible. So yeah, and as soon as I will make a second spore my main and usually a second spore my third in time for the 2 battlecruisers to hit, because if there's 2 battlecruisers and I only have 4 queens, they can Yamato 2, and then if I only have 1 spore and 2 queens left, they can make too much damage. So in order to pretty much buy time for all the queens to get together against the 2 battlecruisers, I will have 2 spores here and 2 spores here, because those are the bases where the queens will take the longest time to join up. If he goes to the natural, it's fine to only have 1 spore, because the queens from here and the queens from here will join up here to defend the battlecruisers. And yeah, in this game I'm gonna go, as I said, for my macro follow-up, so I'm just gonna go through this very quickly. One of the units that is obviously very good against battlecruisers is the Infestor. A, the Funnel makes it so they can't use their jump, and B, Noril just makes it so you have battlecruisers, and that is just very supply efficient. Obviously, if you have a 2 supply unit that makes a 6 supply unit fight for you, that is yeah, very good. And the other option is to go for Corruptors. There's even a third option, I think, which is to just all in with Hydra Lane Bane, but that's a bit of a risky one. But if they go Cyclone Hellion, you can even try to all in with Link Bane Hydra. You can also try to all in with Roach Ravager Corruptor. You can also make Corruptors first and then go into late game, but I find the best way to get into a macro game against this style is to just make a couple of Infestors without the Infestor upgrade, because you lack gas, and then go into a very quick Neural, so they can't keep getting value out of the battlecruisers. I'm just gonna turn this down just a little bit. So yeah, my mid-game plan against this pretty much is I will go Roach Ravager Infestor with a couple of links that those can tank against the Cyclones. Those are also good against Alien Run dice. And eventually I want to go up to Broodlord, Corruptor, Infestor, Viper. That's my main goal, so it's always good to have a game plan against a certain unit composition, which this is the Cyclone Hellion stuff. He made 1 safety tank, but it's very hard to exactly know how many Cyclones they make in comparison to how many tanks. That's why I go Roach Ravager with this and not Ravager, Link, Bane, Infestor, which would be better in theory against the Cyclone Hellion stuff. But yeah, you can see creep also very important against Cyclones. I'm gonna talk a bit about Cyclones now, because battlecruisers themselves I don't think are that scary, but the opening transitions very nicely into the Cyclone mid game. Cyclones can't really go on creep too much. Like if they overextend and get surrounded, they don't trade very effectively. He found my Greater Spire here. I even had 2 spores, but it didn't matter. So that was he like just teleported on top of it. So he will lose those to the queens, but he will kill the Greater Spire, which was good for him. And I'm just using my Infestors here in the front Infestor is not only good against battlecruisers, but also very good against cyclones. But as I said, I only make 3, and this is without the Infestor upgrade because I'm afraid of a potential tank push. You cannot know at the time where you make the Infestors if your opponent is going all in with tanks of 3 base or even 4 CCs, it doesn't really matter. You need a lot of Roach Ravager for that in order to defend that, so that's why you see me go for just a couple of Infestors. And usually right now my Great Respire would be done, but I'm just gonna go through this very quickly. Because this is not really about the mid game so much as it is about not so much about the late game as it is about the early game, how to deal with the battlecruiser openings. I don't want this to be too long, even though I think it's gonna end up pretty long. So yeah, I'm also adding a Hydroden just in case. Sometimes reinforcing with Hydras is quite good. I just want to show that the Zerg army pretty much beats the mech army. Like, if you get up to Infestor, Broodlord, Corruptor, Viper, you're usually in a good spot. And obviously I have good map control here. Taking all the Geysers gas, very important against Terran in late game, because you need Vipers, Infestors, Broodlords. Those are all very gas heavy units. And eventually I will just sack those units to get more army supply for the army I want, and as soon as I have this army I will just attack. Oops, let's hope my PC doesn't crash, because I'm putting it in ×8 for a second here. So he still has this. You can defend these Rambais kind of with Ling Roach Ravager, especially if they go too far on creep, but right now I know he still has this army, which is very useless against what I have. So I'm just gonna start going on the offensive. And you just need to make sure that your Infestors don't step into tank fire. That's pretty much the only thing you need to really avoid. And you can throw out Parasitic Bomb. After you use the Viper, send them back. Even unhotkey them from your Corruptor hotkey, as you can see there. Well, I can't really show it to you because I can't click it, but they're not in this hotkey anymore. I will re-add them after they're done. But yeah, at this point we start trading very, very well. And that's the game. That's just how my game plan works. I try to get up to this army and then try to just trade well. That's a pretty simple game plan, right? So now let's go to the second game. Remember, this was a Viking first, so this wasn't the absolutely earliest battlecruiser. This game I'm playing against Soul, and he will do the earliest version of the battlecruiser. Also, last game I went for a Overlord Speed opening, so it's quite simple on how to scout it. Oftentimes I get asked, how do you scout it? Because it's like your Overlord just dies against a couple of Marines, so you will see this in this game. In this game I won't go for Overlord Speed, but I will pretty much confirm the scout even with the Overlord. This is not always the case. One thing that you have to be, like, one of the things you can know, how you can know it's a battlecruiser, is that the battlecruiser hits very late. So if you see a starport at all, or you see the lack of a third CC, and you don't see a starport or no starport unit, you pretty much know that it's a battlecruiser, very likely at least. And you do not actually have to blind counter it too much. In a normal macro game I get 1 queen per base and 4 queens, that makes it 7. And I will get, if I don't have any scouting, like if I play completely blind, I would keep this Overlord at home, I would make a blind Bailing Nest or a Roach Warren, and I would get 7 queens, 1 spore in each base, right? That's a pretty standard setup. And if I don't see any air units by 5 minutes, I will pull 2 extra queens to my main, so I have 3 in my main, and, well, 1 in my natural and 3 at the front, pretty much. That will be my setup then. Just in case it is battlecruisers, because it's highly likely if you don't see a starport unit by 5 minutes that it is indeed battlecruisers. Also, one of the ways you can tell is battlecruisers cost a lot, right? So you can tell by the CC timing. If there are only 4 Hellions, for example, they can get a pretty early CC, but as soon as they're making 6 Hellions plus making BC, the CC will already be delayed. The normally time third CC starts around 4 minutes to 4 minutes and 20. The CC will be a lot later, as you will see in this game. This is 4 minutes 45, and he made 6 Hellions. So with 4 Hellions, he can do it a bit earlier, but then you don't have any pressure on the front at the same time as the Battlecruiser, right? So yeah, I'm not focused too much on my own opening, but I'm gonna just show you guys real quick again what I scouted here. So I see these 2 Marines, right? I see that this is not producing anymore, but it's not switching off. And then also a very big tell is that I see that there is no tech lab here. So if this was a 1 gas 3 CC and the CC is here and I don't see it, there would be a tech lab here and Stim would already be researching. This factory would have already swapped over, and there would be 2 extra barracks in production by this time. So right now I'm already just from seeing, okay, there was no CC here, two depots. He's not producing anything here. He doesn't have a tech lab here. This, I mean, now it's pretty much a confirmed scout because there's no cloak here, and it's a starport with a tech lab. I didn't see any unit. The first unit from the starport with gas first pops around 350 if it's a Viking or a medevac. 4 minutes if it's a Banshee or a Liberator, or maybe 5 seconds later than that, but around that time. So I'm not seeing cloak being finished yet. Also means that it's pretty much the cloak can't be finished yet. Not seeing anything in research on the tech lab starport with the setup. Almost guaranteed already that it's a Battlecruiser opening. So I can tell just from the lack of the CC and the what's going on. So as I said, around 5 minutes you need to start the first spores. 4:55 to 5 minutes. 4:55 you want to be very safe. We resumed here because I built a spore here and it didn't build. It got blocked by the drones. I'm not sure if that happened to you guys as well, but sometimes it happens to me. I didn't pick up on the fact. So yeah, he does one very smart thing, which is teleporting the Battlecruiser out of vision. Even though it starts shooting later, I have less time to react. So for me, I realize it now, and I will lose like 2 or 3 drones before I pull them back. But you see this move of pulling the drones back? This is very important. It saves a bunch of drones every single time. So yeah, you will always lose this kind of stuff, but because I know it's a Battlecruiser opening, right now I can only make drones. Only make drones. So even though you're losing stuff, like, I prefer playing against this opening rather than against a normal 2 cloak Banshee, because those get more value earlier, and it like denies more. It can deny a bit more. It can deny the crew spread a bit more. Sorry. This game I'm gonna go for the Corruptor Roach timing, so that's also one way to counter Battlecruiser and 2 mech. It will just be 1 evolution chamber because I want most of the gas for my Corruptors. Here you can see me again pulling away the drones. It will be 66 drones. I will pull all my queens. By the way, here you can see how I add the second spore here. No second spore here because I had 5 queens at the front. And what you want to do is just pretty much wait until you're at 160 supply with around 10 Corruptors. I did a follow-up scout, I think I already missed it, but I already know it's mech. I confirmed it, I saw extra Hellions here, so I knew it was mech. Good players don't really continue to play, to build Battlecruisers because they lose, like they're not good over time. They slow down your tech by quite a bit. Your Cyclone count, your additional factories, your fort command center. Like making more Battlecruisers I don't think is good, more than 2. But if your opponent makes more than 2 Battlecruisers, that's also fine. Just get a couple extra Corruptors with this push. This push will be even stronger if they make 3 Battlecruisers. And yeah, you can follow up scout pretty much with an Overseer, and it will be in time for you to decide if you want to go for Roach attack or Corruptors or whatever, or not. And I also think if they go for more BCs, it's very easy to just play mid game and then make more infestors, like very infestor heavy. But yeah, what you're gonna see me do here is just build up Corruptors, 10 in this case, maybe 11. Preferably don't show the corruptors as show the corruptors as late as possible because you don't want them to build turrets. And as soon as he sees the corruptors, very often it's exactly this timing, so they can know what's up. Also, you don't want them to you want them to rather use the Yamatos on the queens rather than the corruptors. Not only because the corruptors cost more, but they're also more effective in the attack because they're more mobile off creep. So here you see the attack. I'm reinforcing with Zergling Roach. A couple of Zerglings are always good. You can always see the Cyclones lock on a little bit. Once he retreats to his natural, just send a couple of units here. But pretty much it's just a concave and a move. There's not too much to talk about. GG. So this is a very standard response to the Battlecruiser and to mech. You went 5 factory, only 2 Battlecruisers, pretty standard stuff. So if you're having trouble against this, try going for this timing. And once again, the early game just looked like this, without 100% scouting it, but I was pretty sure already that it was the Battlecruiser opening. I made 1 spore per base. I knew it couldn't be cloak, so otherwise I would make the 1 spore per base at 420 with a 4 minutes and 15 lair. So I would usually, if I think it could also be Banshee, I make 1 spore in my main, 1 spore in my third, and a relatively early lair, so I have a Overseer, but I still have the same amount of queens. And if I then don't see a Banshee, I will start splitting my queens around 5 minutes and 10 to 20, which is when the first Battlecruiser can arrive. So that was the second one, and now I'm gonna go into a replay that was played with against the Muslim, where he played 2 Starport Battlecruisers. So this is gonna be against more Battlecruisers. I will also include all these replays in the description of the video, and I will also put an extra video, an extra replay in there, how to beat Battlecruisers in late game. It would take me too long to go through an entire late game, but pretty much the reason why I think Battlecruisers more than 2, or just in general in late game, are very bad is because Nuril is just very, very, very good against them. Also, just a little thing that's pretty important about this kind of scenario where you have Infestors against Battlecruisers. If they Yamato your Infestor, and the Infestor nurls the Battlecruiser, the Yamato will still go through even though you already nurled it. So even though you're already controlling it, the Yamato will still go through. You can, however, still teleport it before the Infestor dies. If you just press teleport, you don't even need to shift, click teleport. As soon as you click teleport, it will still go through. So pretty much as soon as you nurl them, you take away the... As soon as you have Infestors on the map against Battlecruisers, you pretty much take away the ability for them to attack, Yamato, blink back, attack, Yamato, blink back. That's usually how they gain value, right? So yeah, that's how you can avoid it. I think this is the earliest 3 or 4 Battlecruisers that I've ever seen against me. I think he only makes like 4 Hellions or something, so this is something that I think only the Muslim is like the Muslim special. But yeah, against in late game against Battlecruisers, it's just important to have a lot of Infestors. Not have too few. Infested Terrans are also super good against Battlecruisers. Just make sure to use the blink as soon as you get them. Or if you get them before the Yamato, you can use the Yamato first and then use the blink last second, because the blink takes a while, and it takes, like, the Nuril has a specific time only, you know. So yeah, I saw 2 Starports here. I went over the speed again. I saw 2 Starports, 4 gas. I was like, okay, I see what's going on. So his first Battlecruiser is gonna be a bit later than usual, but so he's actually supply blocked here. So this one would have been earlier. But pretty much once you see that they're going for 2 Starport Battlecruiser very early on, just make extra queens and make Aspire as early as like at an early time. You know, you don't need to rush lair, because the initial Battlecruisers you can defend with just queens. I'm having a Bailing Nest just in case there's a Hellbat attack, but I can see that there's not many Hellions. This is Hellions 5 and 6 that are on the way right now. And since it was 2 starports, right away I made 2 Spores here and 2 Spores here. And more than the 8 queens that I usually make. In this case, I think I already have like 10. Yeah, 10. And in order to do the maximum amount of damage, he didn't even blink in, even though this hits later. Usually there would already, the BattleCruiser could already be shooting, but then he would have blink on cooldown and would need to retreat without being killed, so probably he would not have gotten too much done. Whereas now he can go with those 2 together and then blink once they get too low. But pretty much in this game I'm gonna go for Lingbane Ravager Corruptor, because I think with 2 starport BattleCruiser there can't really be too much on the ground. Like in terms of tanks, I don't think you can go for a tank timing. So in this case I just want to make as many Corruptors as possible and then go for Lingbane Ravager on the ground. And I will also go for a timing in this game. Here are the Hellbats. I'm gonna clean those up with half my queens. I have a lot of queens. This is 12 and I think already like 2 or 3 died. Sorry if I'm going through this replays pretty quick, but yeah, the main point is just have Spore Crawlers and queens in position. There's not too much that can happen to you. And always kite against the BattleCruisers. Like this looks scary because it's 4 BattleCruisers, but if I put all my queens together and just kite, he can't do anything. And also Spores are very important. Spores have 400 HP in case you didn't know. So they can't be one-shot by Yamato. They need two shots to kill Spore Crawlers. But yeah, now I have 16 Corruptors. One thing that's important is Carapace is better against BattleCruisers. I am going for both attack upgrades on the ground though, because it's I feel like it's better against the Cyclone Hellion part of the army. You can also go for Carapace though, especially against 2 starport DC. I would absolutely see. I would probably go Carapace and Missile. If this is a mistake. Also, one thing about BattleCruisers that you have to know is that while they're Yamatoing, they can't blink, only after. So if you see a low HP BattleCruiser using Yamato, just focus fire him. And if I would play macro, I would have already had an Infestation Pit on the way, and I would make Infestors and do a very similar style, just with more Infestors. Similar to the style that I did in the game against Kelazur. But in this case, I'm just gonna go for a timing. I knew he just used blink, so he can't really fight me, so I'm just gonna go here, but now I see already a Cyclones, so I'm gonna back off. I think I even will lose a Corruptor here, yeah. And now I'm just gonna go for the timing. I'm also gonna put all the queens. And I'm gonna wait for the queens. And I have the Corruptors a bit behind the queens, because I'm hoping that he Yamatos my queens instead of the Corruptors. And because, since he went for double support, he doesn't have that much on the ground. Which, as long as you don't have anything on the ground, BattleCruisers are kind of bad against Corruptors. Like, as long as you have to fight, you know? As long as you can't just Yamato and blink back, they're pretty bad against Corruptors. So even though he has a lot of them, and he has 1 armor upgrade, I also have 1 armor upgrade. You can just do this timing. I think this is probably the easiest way to play, if you're not good with Infestors. But I think the best one is still to just go Infestors and probably play the late game. Because I just don't see how you trade poorly with Infestors against BattleCruisers in the late game. Since Infestors are just much more supply efficient. GG. So yeah, just to summarize, against the normal BattleCruiser openings, make your Spores around 5 minutes. If you don't see any air unit, like if you don't have any clue about the scouting, if you don't see a CC by 420, it can always be any sort of Hellbat pressure, so put down a Baling Nest or a Roach Warren. And if there's no starport unit, by around 20 to 30 seconds later, most of the time it's the BattleCruiser opening. How do you scout for the lack of a CC? Most of the time they put it here. So you can check here with the links, and you can come in from here with an Overlord without Overlord speed. Also, one of the things you can do is check the factory around 4 minutes. 4 minutes to 4 minutes and 10, depending on if they played gas first or not, to see if they keep producing Hellions. Because I don't think if they go Battlecruiser they can continuously make Hellions, especially with gas first. So if they don't make a 7th and 8th Hellion and they don't have a CC, this is also one of the giveaways for there being a Battlecruiser. So yeah, just make a lot of queens, at least 7, split them up before you see the Battlecruiser. The one scenario we didn't have is the Battlecruiser blinking into the natural. If it blinks into the natural, I would probably put 3 queens here and attack with 3 queens from here. If he blinks like here, I would put the 3 queens on the high ground and 3 queens here, pretty much just to intercept them. And I would probably lose more mining time than if he would blink into the main base or into the 3rd base. But it's also harder for the Battlecruiser to get away because there's no that airspace that he can easily go away to. So if he blinks here, he can go here. If he blinks here, he can go here. In this game, he didn't blink at all, obviously, but I'm talking about the normal Battlecruiser opening. Also, always remember to make 5 roaches or morph. You can morph like 4 banelings against the potentially Hellbait attack in the front. We didn't see that yet, but nothing would have changed. I always made the blind roaches or the blind baneling nest in order to defend that. So I hope that helped everyone that has problems with this Battlecruiser opening. And yep, if you have any other suggestions for videos, I'm doing a lot of sub goals right now on my stream. In general, tune into my stream if you have any problems. You can always ask me there for advice. But if you have any specific builds that you want me to analyze or that you want to know a counter against, just let me know in the comments. And I hope to see you in the next video or in Twitch chat. See you guys.